Welcome in to another episode of the 2023 Fantasy Baseball Team Previews. I am Jason. You can find me on Twitter at JRBex. I'm joined here by JP, and you can find him on Twitter at DapScout. First off, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel down below. You're going to get great fantasy content all year long. Also, if you want, you can head on over to fantasy6pack.net. We got a ton more content there, including becoming an all-access member of Fantasy Six Pack. You're going to get great access to our award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets. We got a Discord up and running now, and plenty more. So go on and head over to fantasy6pack.net/plans. You can use promo code F6PMLB for an additional 15% off. But right now we got the 2023 Fantasy Baseball Team Previews, and today we're going to be talking about the Milwaukee Brewers. We're going to go ahead and start off with the starting lineup here. Leading off, we have Christian Yelich, followed by Willy Adames. And batting third, we have Rowdy Tellez, followed up by William Contreras. And then we have Jesse Winker. Hitting sixth is Luis Urias. Hitting seventh is Garrett Mitchell. Hitting eighth is Tyrone Taylor. And rounding it out, batting ninth is Bryce Terang. Obviously, when you look at this lineup here, a lot of some old faces here. We got Christian Yelich leading off. But I think right now one of the bigger acquisitions I think that they've made here is the new catcher William Contreras, who's the younger brother of Wilson Contreras. He came over in a trade with Atlanta, but I think we saw him get a little bit of split playing time last year in Atlanta and really kind of broke out. He hit 20 plus home runs. I think now getting that full-time role here in Milwaukee, I think he's, to me, my 2023 catcher breakout. His ADP is obviously up to 150 right now, so I think everyone's in line with that breakout. So I don't know if he really is a breakout anymore, but whatever. But what do you think about William Contreras for 2023?
I mean, 278, 354 with 20 home runs and 97 games last year. I mean, yes, please. I typically don't love catchers. We're not supposed to, right? In fantasy, we're supposed to just kind of wait. But if you are in maybe a two-catcher league or something like that, which requires a premium, absolutely, I'm going after Contreras. With the Atlanta acquiring, Sean Murphy and then, of course, Travis d'Arnaud, there was just nowhere for him to play. And I was really worried that his bat was going to be somehow just muffled there. His offense has always been ahead of his defense, and you kind of had to worry about that whole thing. But now he's in a much better spot. Nobody is going to be fighting him on playing time. He has a chance to not look over his shoulder, really develop that bat. Hopefully also, of course, bring up that defense and have the ability to really be an amazing catcher as well, just like his brother. I love Contreras in this current playing time and with this team.
Yeah, and now we get a bunch of matchups of the Contreras brothers with both Milwaukee and St. Louis having one of each. So, but I think when you look at this lineup too, you kind of look at that back half right there with 7, 8, 9, Garrett Mitchell, Tyrone Taylor, and even Bryce Terang. This is a projected lineup from Fangraphs. Right now they have Bryce Terang slated in there at second base. He has not seen any major league action yet, so I think it's kind of hard to pencil him as the opening day starter at second base. If you look at the bench, though, they don't really have a ton of options, which I think is what has kind of forced him into the lineup. Do you think Bryce Terang, starts the gate out with Milwaukee?
Absolutely not. Right. If you look at the bench, it's the signing of Brian Anderson that solidifies that person lineup. Bryce Terang has no business being in this lineup with Miami already kind of getting that anchor in Brian Anderson. Now, Bryce Terang kills it in spring training. Maybe he takes Garrett Mitchell and pushes him down. I don't think Garrett Mitchell also belongs kind of in the 7 hole there. You're looking at somebody who, just like Terang, wasn't up for much and had a lot of holes kind of exposed with that swing, which we saw. He had so much helium as a prospect, even 2 years ago, and just started to struggle. I'm talking about Garrett Mitchell. And what I hope happens is that, he kind of finds that second year look and really trying to change up his swing and does some things there. But I think Garrett Mitchell is going to be the second most vulnerable person on this list. But Bryce Terang should not, and I very certain he will not start in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, just some more young guys, they maybe might be able to make the lineup here. Not obviously opening day, but you see someone like maybe Sal Frelick or even Weimer,
Right.
coming for that center field or right field job. Now
Absolutely.
Tyrone Taylor is kind of shown that power at times, but to me,
Mhm.
he's just a replacement level player at this point. Like
Right.
those two other guys knocking on the door. Do you think we see any of those guys as well this year?
Oh, I hope we see Sal Frelick. I love him. I have an unhealthy obsession with looking at what he did the night before. He is phenomenal and somebody I definitely would love to see play. But he's barely going to be 23 halfway through the season, so I just don't know if that's going to happen just yet. But Jackson Churio is the guy. I mean, that's the guy
Yeah,
who we want to see, but he probably won't be up till 2025 or late
yeah, he's still
2024.
got. I would see
Yeah,
2024 making at some point, but
right.
yeah.
But I think the thing is, what we need to see here is, when you have Atlanta kind of being, as one of the pitching kind of clubs, I'm looking at this team, and they seem to be the outfield developers of
Yeah.
the league. I mean, just really kind of stacked in the farm, especially with outfielders and coming off the bench. That's why I'd be really worried if I'm Garrett to really perform. And they're going to have a big spotlight on Garrett Mitchell to really kind of come out the gate hot. One thing I want to ask you,
Mhm.
because we look at kind of the first five here, right?
Yep.
Other than Willy Adames, we're looking for a lot of people that need to bounce back this year. Christian Yelich. What Christian Yelich are we going to have? He's been besieged by injuries since that really made those two really amazing seasons. Rowdy Tellez, he's falling out of Toronto, and what are we going to get there as well? And then of course Jesse Winker, who had some great seasons in Seattle, but luckily he's no longer in that kind of that big stadium with the fences so far back. Who do you see bouncing back here?
I think you kind of ended up there with Jesse Winker. I think, we've seen this guy, is on base, gets on base a ton. He's got the power, gets a ton of doubles. I think now I think it's American Family Ballpark. I think, like you're right. I think he's going to see a little bit more of those doubles fly over the wall. So to me, I like the Jesse Winker bounce back, especially if he's playing the DH role, which we saw him kind of excel at in Seattle. So I like the Jesse Winker bounce back for sure.
I hope so. I have
Let's
a lot of Jesse Winker.
All right, let's get on over to the starting rotation then. And we're going to start off with everyone's darling, Corbin Burnes, followed up by Brandon Woodruff. And then the three hole, we got Eric Lauer. Pitching fourth is Freddie Peralta. And then the five spot belongs to Wade Miley currently. Um, right now, we look at these top three, even basically the top two. I mean, this is one of the greatest 1-2 punches in the NL. Obviously, we see Brandon Woodruff, who we thought many would be the ace of the staff, is kind of taking a back seat now to Corbin Burnes over the past few years. Corbin Burnes having that huge 2022 season. To me, he's basically your 1-1 pitcher off the board,
Right.
in my opinion. But when you look at that fifth spot right now, we got Wade Miley.
Mm.
I think it's only a matter of time before we see him on that IL. So I know they got a bunch of guys in the bullpen, a lot of long guys, long relievers. Mostly looking at like Aaron Ashby or Adrian Hauser, who both filled in last year in that fifth spot. But who do you think has the better chance, or who would you prefer in that fifth spot?
Yikes. I was hoping you were going to give me something easier than that question. I mean, honestly, this team, look, you got Freddie Peralta. If you look at kind of the holes here, right? Well, you have two aces, like you said. You have number one with a bullet, Corbin Burnes, and then you have a top 10 pitcher in Brandon Woodruff, depending on what type of league you're in, top seven. And then it's a huge drop off, and it should be, right, with those type of
Mhm.
players. Uh, can Freddie Peralta, kind of hang in there? Uh, Freddie and Wade Miley to me are both big question marks. And you're right; they have a lot of great long guys. They have Adrian Hauser, Aaron Ashby, people that have definitely been able to start in the past, and then they have some great guys in the minors as well. If I would not be touching much of this starting rotation outside of the number three, and even then I'm kind of and that might be one of my if it's my SP5 on my team or SP6, then I would definitely be able, going after one of these 3 or later starting pitchers on Milwaukee. If not, I'm staying away from that. They're fantastic 1 and 2, but that's a huge drop off for me that I just don't want to touch.
Yeah, I mean, with confidence, you're drafting right the three Burnes, Woodruff, and Peralta, and then I'd even take Lauer at the end, late rounds. We saw a little bit of some flashes in 2022 especially at the beginning of the season. Kind of
Right.
fell out there at the end, but I absolutely would take those three in Burnes, Woodruff, and
Okay.
Peralta all day. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the bullpen here. Got closer, we got Devin Williams. We got the setup men of Matt Bush and Peter Strzelecki. Got the mid guys. We kind of talked about them a little bit. Aaron Ashby, Javi Guerrera, Hobie Milner, Bryce Wilson, and then the long guy is going to be Adrian Hauser. Obviously, Devin Williams and that changeup is deadly. He's obviously closer. But outside of him, I mean, like I said, Ashby and Hauser and most likely even maybe some Bryce Wilson are going to get their spot starts here or fill in
Yep.
long term.
Yep.
So, I mean, outside of Williams, is there anyone that you are targeting in this bullpen?
I mean, Matt Bush, if sort of, it's one of those things where you want to target him, but you look at his stats last year. He went from he was all over the place. And
Mhm.
I just want to really highlight that because so many people have been saying Matt Bush, Matt Bush, Matt Bush. I am not touching that. I had Matt Bush for a lot of last year, and it was a roller coaster. It was, in those daily lineups, I was never sure which one I was going to get. And was it going to be trusted? Was he going to stay the closer? Was he going to set up? I He's going to be the guy that's probably least likely to stay up in that setup role. I just don't see that happening. There's control issues. There's all kinds of stuff. But when he's on, he's on. But we all know that you need to have, especially when you have just an outstanding closer like Devin Williams, you need to have the ability to bridge to him easily.
Yep.
But yeah, Matt Bush would be the guy I'm staying away from. People that could, be the dark horse candidate here, definitely look at Javi Guerrera. Aaron Ashby has been around for a bit, showing that he can do that. So I would look at those two. But honestly, I don't trust anything there other than Devin Williams. And he's a stud. So he should be definitely the first, second, closer off the board.
Yeah, I mean, I like Matt Bush, got the electric arm. I think we talked about this earlier. Fun fact is he was the first overall pick, believe it or not.
Right.
I think it was about 20 years ago at this point now, but yeah, I'm not drafting anybody outside. I mean, obviously, I would look at Ashby and Hauser, but not for their bullpen use, more for their starting
Right.
rotation use. But other than that, yeah, Devin Williams, I'm drafting, and that's about it out of this bullpen. So, and that I think with that, that's going to basically wrap up the 2023 Milwaukee Brewers Fantasy Baseball Team preview. Until next time.